Yesterday I watched it on YouTube. Now I know it's a fact.
G'day everyone, I'm the Anti-Theocrat yet again. I thought I'd cover stupidity a bit with this one. In the wake of my superannuation company, who are supposed to invest in alternate energies and energy technologies for me, asking me a whole lot of questions about what social justice issues I was interested in and how I was active in them, making me think I've definitely got to leave this company. I thought we'd cover some crazy shit going on. Let's see, here we go. This one. It shows a rather ignorant position, really. We're going to go around using apps to find roadkill, seriously. Man urges Aussies to take on horrendous task to reduce roadkill. Now, apparently this guy's in Tasmania, but I found out why he's a twit in regard to this. Bruce Englefield, a 78-year-old originally from the UK. There you go. So, absolutely no fucking idea what goes on in Australia. Moved here thinking it'd be a sweet, lovely place. Well, I'm sorry, but I live in the outback. You think Tasmania has roadkill? You don't know what roadkill is. Out here it's roos, emus, occasional echidnas, lizards, snakes, all the good large native animals. Anyway, he's made an app so you can report where roadkill is. It sounds more like a fetish, a kink to me, personally. I, being an Australian, know there are ways in which we can avoid roadkill without having to use an app to tell people where it is. There are very heavy road areas of, animal density, and we have these lovely signs to warn us when we're coming across them. As you can see, wild animals, that's just general. Roos, emus, wombats, koalas, brumbies or horses, wild horses, and camels. We've got national trails, that's for people walking and riding their horses on trails. So, there were ones that are not here. This is the Queensland one, but I know that Queensland also has them. Bridge signs that tell you to give away if there are horses on the bridge. We get them here in New South Wales. I'm pretty sure they're in Victoria. So, we warn about animals in a lot of different ways. And the app's not going to do any more than these signs do. Warn us where the heavy animal crossing areas are. Essentially, long-haul drivers out here in the outback just have to get to where they're going. And roos are the sorts of things, because roos are the biggest roadkill out here, and roos are the sorts of things, they're as dumb as cows, with an ability to hop 6 metres in any direction from a standing start. It can be facing away from the road, and as you come up on it, it will decide to react. And it will react by jumping 6 metres backwards and land right in front of your car. If it doesn't come through your windscreen, there's a big danger with the roos. If you come up on them too fast and you're not aware they're there and they jump out in front of you, they could be at a height where they'll come through the windscreen. You don't see too many cars bingled up that way. Most of the cars have front end damage or rear end damage. The last time I hit a roo, I was in a hire car. I caught it under the back wheels because it hopped into the side of the car, and it did some pretty serious damage to the horse float that I was trailing. So, you can't tell with the roos. Like I say, they'll bounce into the side of the car. It's just the way they react, and there's not much you can do about it. I was in a black spot, a really bad black spot. Barcaldine to Blackall is horrible. And when it's dry, the roads are worse. But there's nothing you can do. The last time I came into town with a heavy roo population, I was doing 60 kilometres an hour, and I swear I was going too fast. The roos were just that thick. So, we got a lot of dead roos. And something about a POM. Oh yeah, did I tell you distressing content? Look at that. I see those all the time. So, welcome to what I see on the road. So, a POM telling us that we can reduce roadkill by having an app is just a load of shit. You just never know. You never know where the roos are going to be exactly. You never know how they're going to respond. And the idea that this guy thinks that an app is going to solve our problems is just ignorance. Moving on, back to roos. Drought sparks desperate and extreme behaviour for native animals. Ecologists, sorry about that, say kangaroos have resorted to eating the stomachs and intestines of dead kangaroos in a desperate attempt to find plant matter due to drought. You see, the fact that we kill roos on the road is only one of their problems. A female kangaroo has 3 vaginas, is capable of having 2 joeys, that's a baby kangaroo, on the run at the same time. So in good feed seasons, they build their populations up. And then when we get dry seasons, like we've been suffering for quite a long time, and long droughts are normal for Australia, they don't just die out because of lack of feed. They will also go to eating one another, just trying for the grass that's in the bellies. Because, they're starving. They don't have any problem with it. Why? I mean, the roadkill compared to the amount of Australia that doesn't have roads, roadkill is fairly insignificant, really, probably in the death of roos. And the reason we get roos on the side of the road, and especially in the dry, is with the heat of the sun on our roads, the roads turn into a heat sink. And at night, as they cool, we get a bit of condensation on the roads, which means the side of the road is often the greenest part of any place in the country. And it does attract the roos. Sorry about that. School holidays, there's a 4-year-old running behind me, so I can't promise you're not hearing noise. So, it all seems a bit pointless to me. We've got plenty of roos, there's no shortage of them. You're not allowed to just go out and shoot them. All our native species are protected from outright hunting. Sometimes you have culls and people can get licenses for killing native species. The Aboriginals in the north are quite often given the right to kill things like turtles. But, there are plenty of them. We're not running out because we run over a few. I'd rather we ate them, actually. I'd rather we put them to farming because they're more suited to our country for farming, and that we ate the buggers. They're actually really lean meat. And it's quite tasty. It's got a really rich flavour. Cooked right, it is beautiful. The lack of fat makes it a bit dry if you get it wrong. Anyway, moving on, because we're talking so much about global climate change and all the rest of that at the moment, I thought we'd look at this story. A draining Lake Pedder, 50 years on, gains environmental momentum. Yeah, the environmentalists in Tasmania are looking to drain a 50-year-old lake. This is what it looked like apparently 50 years ago. And this is what it... hang on. There are pictures somewhere of it as it is now. There we go. Nice big dam, lots of stuff. Anyway, it's obviously for power, as you can see here. There's the pipe into the station. There's the power plant down the bottom here. Now, draining this will reduce the amount of power or even stop the power production at the dam. I'm not sure which of the two. But it's going to have a fairly serious impact on Tasmania's power production. Now, in the light of global climate change, I don't know what people think they're going to replace that nice, clean source of energy with. Are they going to have to pour more coal into plants? I know the environmentalists in Tasmania are not going to go for nuclear. I do know that they'll go for other things like tidal and wind and all that, and that's fine, but there is a purpose in having stable baseline production, which is definitely provided by this sort of production. In fact, you can turn on turbines on and off on a system like this, which means it's good for all purposes. Whereas wind and solar only function when they function. You can't rely on weather patterns to be exactly how you need them to be at the times that we humans want them to be that way. So this is stable production, easily turned on and off. But yes, the environmentalists want this gone so they can have the lake the way it used to be. Now, here's one that I thought was dead, but apparently this one's back in the books. This was carbon sinking when it was first on the books, and the Australian government actually pumped $10 million into it with the last investment to see if we could store CO2 in the earth. Now, we have some of the very best country apparently for this to be able to succeed in, and it didn't. There was no way we could store CO2 substrata. It just couldn't be done. But here it is, back in the news, going to absorb more of our money to do absolutely bugger all. And I hear green activists and environmental activists talk about this all the time. People like dear old Greta have brought this sort of stuff up. Well, it's been tested. It's been shown to fail. And unless you want us to build man-made canisters under the ground and start pumping carbon dioxide into them, there's no real solution. And I don't know how man-made canisters of carbon dioxide are going to actually do much for us anyway. We would have to be pumping like bitches to get the job done. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring these issues to mind. The roadkill. The fact we actually have things to deal with that. How the roos will eat each other, drain in a lake to get its nice inland pristine freshwater beaches back while undoing some power production. And of course, we're bringing back carbon sinking. What a good plan that was. I was actually an environmental activist talking about climate change at the time when this research was being done, and I was one of the first people saying this is not being shown to be feasible. It's pie in the sky, dreamy technology. I just don't, not interested. Not at all interested in this crap. Okay. I am the anti-theocrat. I just wanted to get this one out because, well, all this climate stuff and shit is bothering me. And with my superannuation company asking me what social justice I was interested, I thought, fuck this shit. I'm the anti-theocrat. May your gods remain fictional, and I'll see you with the next one.